Hello and welcome to my channel. Good morning to you all. I hope you're all well. Now, when I was a small boy, we lived in a house that basically had a large garden, and at the end of that garden there was some farmland and woods to each side. So I always remember seeing lots of wildlife around that situation. Wherever I went, me and my brother used to go rambling all around the countryside. But now that back garden and that farmland has been taken up by more housing. And it's through habitat loss and chemical use that unfortunately wildlife is declining at an alarming rate. So it makes things more difficult to find subjects to photograph or to watch. And hopefully during this video I'll give you a few tips on how to achieve that end using basically a lot of stuff that is actually free. So just having a cigarette and a smoke, and then we'll have a little walk around. See you in a bit. Hello again. Right, well, let's talk about some resources that you can use in order to find where to go to find wildlife, and particularly birds. I don't know if you can hear that, I'm surrounded by bird song. Blackcaps, sedge warblers, sounded like some thrush, maybe a cuckoo far away behind me. Look. Resources that you can use. Well, one of them, the first thing, which is a great resource for everybody. Most people have got access to the internet, so there we can find out where places to go. Like today, he's a loud bugger. Today, I'm at the Willington Gravel Pits wetlands, a nature reserve that's managed by the Derbyshire Wildlife Trust. Most counties in this country have a wildlife trust and they have an online presence, so visiting their websites you can get good ideas of what you can find on all of their reserves. Of course, it isn't just the wildlife trust that run reserves. Local councils, local borough councils also do that, and then the National Trust, and of course we've got the great outdoors of the national parks, particularly places like Exmoor, Dartmoor, the Peak District, the Cairngorms up in Scotland, and then Wales. There's a whole host of stuff on the internet that you can use to find out where you can go. Another method that I use is on Facebook. I've sought out or searched for local groups that for bird watching or bird photography, and I've already paid off this year quite massively. Found a few places that I was never aware of before, and I've been to those places and I've got good shots of what I've been looking for. This year it's kingfisher, a very good place I've found where I can actually get quite close to them, and yeah, they are showy. And then water voles in the same place, but I'm going to do that later on in the year. Things like that are always around. But during this spring, I'm concentrating mostly on springtime birds, migrants, and all the things that go off in this wonderful season of the year. So another thing we can look at on Facebook, I mean on the internet, is that web pages for local birding societies, or members' birds. There are websites for just birders for Nottinghamshire, birders for Derbyshire, things like that. The internet really is a whole host of really good information. And then what about next? Well, next we can talk about books, obviously. There are absolutely loads of books that you can get on birds. And what I recommend is at least two, is a good concise book about birds, namely the Collins Guide, and one that actually has photographs of those birds. I say that because a book like Collins Bird Guide, although the illustrations are great, they're drawn or painted, so they're not actual photographs, and you can still be a bit confused as to determining whether it's a willow warbler or a chiffchaff. But you have a book that has photos, that also helps you. Then of course online, once again, just put in a search in Google search engine at willow warbler, and it will come back, show you examples. You can learn the song. There's just a whole host of things that are on the internet and in books. Another kind of book that you might want to buy is what we call monologues, which deals with a singular species, like a book on a barn owl, or a book on kingfishers, or a book on peregrine falcons, things like that. That is deep learning, much more deeper than you would get in an ordinary bird guide. What else have we got? Books. I happened to find a book, quite an old one, that deals exclusively with bird habitats. Now that's a brilliant book for the British habitats, and I've found lots of places to go there simply by recognising the habitats and the birds that are in those kind of habitats. So yeah, and then there are sort of like tourist guides, like where to go bird watching, best bird watching sites in such and such. You know, like there's one for Scotland, or the Solway Firth, or just for East Anglia, things like that. In the USA or other countries, there's probably their own versions of all these kinds of books that you can find. So I really can't cover a lot about people over the other side of the pond. So, but consider that it's all the same stuff. So anyway, what we'll do next, I'm going to have a little bit of a walk and up to the next platform, where I intend to stay quite a bit, because today I've come here for reed warblers, and there's going to be a few sedge warblers around as well. So I'll have a little walk and I'll see you later. Oh, welcome back. Another resource that is free. It's for people, especially locals around that area. Very often just have a chat with them, and you'll begin to find out where birds are and wildlife is in their own particular area. Like I say, I've just been talking to someone here who's local, and he's been telling me of a place where cuckoo, at the moment, is actually sticking around at, and we could hear it further off in the distance. Right, so next, birdsong. There are apps that you can get to download on your smartphone where you can learn birdsong and bird calls. One in particular that I know of is an app called Merlin, which is quite good. And if you have that in your pocket, you can actually use it to identify a bird by its song. And we've just been doing that, and it was quite accurate. If you want to find birds that are uncommon, or quite rare, first thing I would suggest when you're learning birdsong is learn all the common birds, the birds that are all around everywhere. Like for us, it's the blue tits, great tits, long-tailed tits, wrens, blackbirds, things like that. Yep. Now you might find that counterintuitive to what I've just suggested. Now, how do you identify more uncommon birds? Well, the thing is, if you're out in the field and you're hearing birdsong and all you're hearing is common stuff, you might want to ignore it. But if something comes along and it doesn't sound like anything that you actually don't know, it's going to be something that's a little bit more rarer or uncommon. And then, of course, go the next step and try to learn bird songs that are particular for the kind of area or the country that you live in. Yeah, lots of that stuff about. And of course, again, online you'll be able to find bird song examples and call examples, and download the sounds and listen to them on your computer or your laptop. So that's next. Next we'll talk about your senses, i.e. using your eyes and ears. So, I shall see you in a bit. Oh, well, welcome back. As I said earlier, there are two senses that you need to use as well. Is that your eyes and your ears. Obviously, in the ears we've already covered a bit, that learning birdsong and bird calls, but using it out in the field is to help you try and navigate as to where they might be, where that sound's coming from. If you start walking towards it, is it getting louder or is it getting quieter? So that's pretty simple, yeah. But the eyes, using your eyesight is quite important. Generally speaking, wildlife, especially birds, are creatures of habit. They have their places, as it were. They have their favourite trees, their favourite singing posts, things like that. So yes, as you're walking along, wherever you need to be, keep your pace low, snail's pace, while you're looking and hearing. A lot of people just go walking normally along a track and expect things to pop out to them. Sometimes it does. But yeah, give yourself plenty of time, walk slowly, beware of things that are going around the corner. Get around the corner stealth wise, you know, really snail's pace. Use the habitation that's around you, like a bush which you can stand behind while you're observing, things like that. And then Chetty's warbler, there are two here, but I can't find them. They're right next to me. So, and then just look at things that might indicate that there's something going on. But I'm stood here and there's a reed bed in front of me and there's a little bit of a breeze, but every now and again one of those reed stems twitches like that. So keep your eye out for that. Obviously it's more difficult the more breezy it is. Right, on the move again now to the next platform, looking out over some reeds. Got interrupted a little bit. So as I was saying, I was watching these reed beds. I noticed that one of the reed stem was twitching like that. You know, it didn't look like it was being blown about by the breeze, as it looked very different. When a breeze came along, all the reeds went like that, but this reed stem was just like that. And up popped a reed warbler. Couldn't get a shot in it because it was right inside the bed, but still I knew they were about. And again, you can look for this you know, the vegetation, the small branches of trees, nettle stems, grass stems, things like that. You know, are they twitching about? Are they giving away some presents? These are the things you need to do. And then there's also, like I said, one thing you do need to have, that is patience, quite a bit of it, in buckets. And we'll talk about that in a bit. Yeah, patience and good fieldcraft, taking your time. Basically, whilst you're walking about, keep your eyes peeled for where birds are flying to. Do you see them flying to a particular bush or a particular space or a particular tree? Approach it cautiously. Is it just a stopover thing for the bird, or is it going to do something there? Does it look like it's going deeper into the undergrowth? It's probably got a nest, probably got eggs to sit on. And if you hear one singing and you can identify the tree that it's on, walk up to it slowly, make a note of what it is. Generally speaking, if a bird uses a particular tree to sing from, it's highly likely it will use it again throughout the day. So yeah, patience, walking at a snail's pace, and fieldcraft. Other things to look out for are evidences that animals and birds have been somewhere, usually by bird poo. If you see bird poo on the ground or on a branch, things like that, that's another indicator that birds frequent that particular bit of vegetation. So stick around for a bit. I'm walking down here, as you can hear, there's loads of birds singing. And as you can see behind me, the path is just a single track, a bit muddy in places. And to be honest, the Wildlife Trust usually keep this fairly clean and what's the word I'm looking for? Pruned. But they don't seem to have done so yet. I just walked onto a second platform, which is good for a good view, and it's just obscured, totally obscured by a willow that they've allowed to grow. So yeah. Anyway, I'm getting close to the hide, which is another thing I might talk about. And while I'm in there, I'll have some lunch, cup of tea, and a bit of a rest. So I'll see you later. I quickly mentioned hides, and what I say about hides are most nature reserves have hides dotted around the place, which is good to know where they are, just in case weather turns inclement and you get a bit of a downpour, somewhere where you can just nip in for shelter. However, hides on nature reserves tend to be not very good for photography purposes. I've come across very few that are actually, quite good for that. This particular hide behind me might not be bad, but in front of it there's reed beds, but they're in a bit of a poor state. I don't think we'll be getting any reed warblers in there. Yep. And then of course there are purpose-built hides that are run by small business individuals. These are excellent. I've done a couple of reviews on two in particular that are around about in Yorkshire near Bradford and Leeds. So I'll put that up later on as a link. And then of course there are personal hides, pop-up hides, which pop up like a tent, but that's another video. So while I go into the hide, we'll have a quick recap what we need to know. Right, it's research, internet, Facebook, web pages, Google searches, whatever you want to find out, and then there are books. Books are a very good thing to have, and they are a must need, so you must get some of those. And then local knowledge, talk to people while you're out. What have they found? Are they local? Do they know places where such good opportunities crop up? And then observation and listening skills and field crafts. But the most important part of it is patience. Bird and wildlife photography requires a lot of patience. So that's it basically. So I hope you find my videos interesting. If you do, please subscribe and leave a comment and give us a like, and I'll let you know when new videos are produced. But all I need to say for now is thanks for watching and cheerio.